So just because somebody is naturally gifted and has a knack for something doesn't mean that they truly love it. Now, this could be the case pretty much anywhere. Like, for example, Jamal Williams, like the running back, one of the running backs for the New Orleans Saints. Most notably, last year he was the running back for the Detroit Lions. He stated several times in like post game interviews that he views football as just a job, like, and that he would rather watch anime all day because that's what he's really passionate about. He'd rather do that than play football, but he's got a job to do. Even the average person walking, out here, working regular jobs probably feels similarly about their situation. They'd much rather do something else other than the job they're working at, which is why you see so many studies come out saying that more or less 85% of people in America working don't like their jobs and aren't happy with their jobs. So while this isn't uncommon or an indication that someone is a bad person, it still sucks when a hip hop artist from the current as well as the previous generation show in one way or another that they only saw hip hop as like a hustle and never truly loved making music, specifically hip hop music. And I say that just to make the point that over the past 17 years, Andre 3000's actions have shown that he does not, nor has he ever truly ever loved rapping like that, in my opinion. Now, maybe you could argue that he might have loved it at one point, but he just sort of fell out of love with it. But I I'm on the fence on that because that could be true too. But in general, I think it could be a matter of he just never truly liked rapping like that. Like his passion never really ran that deep compared to somebody like Big Boy who to this day still rapping. But we have to separate the art from the person. Andre 3000 was a fearless, creative, lyrical mastermind and one half of the greatest rap duo ever, which was Outkast. But Andre Benjamin, like if we're being honest, like he's just a guy with low self esteem and anxiety, in my opinion. I don't want to say that, but that's just objectively kind of seeing the situation that it just kind of comes off like that, right? So Andre 3000 recently he sat down, he did an interview, really an interview because now like recently he's actually finally released an album that people have been waiting for, but it's not exactly how they want it. Like everybody was waiting for a solo Andre rap album, but he put out an album just playing the flute, which is that's his prerogative. He could do what he want, but at the end of the day, it obviously disappointed a lot of people. The reason in the interview, the reason he says that he doesn't want to rap anymore or he doesn't really have raps stashed like that is because he says it doesn't feel authentic. And he makes a joke about how he's 48 years old and he's saying, "Oh well, what do you want? What could I really rap about at this point? Getting a colonoscopy," which to me it answers his own question because at the end of the day, if that's what you're going through, if that's what you want to talk about, in my opinion, I think you could talk about anything. I'm not even though I do rap about topics that can be real. I'm not the biggest believer that everybody has to rap about all these real topics. I just think it's a case by case situation, but at the same time, if that's what you're going through and that's really what you feel like your life has become, there's nothing wrong with making songs about that. Plenty of people can relate. Like at the end of the day, okay, you're 48 years old. You don't think there's other 48-year-olds who love hip hop? Hip hop's been around for 50 years now as of this year. There are plenty of people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s and 80s and beyond who love hip hop. And they absolutely can relate to the topic of you getting a colonoscopy or you getting your prostate check or any sort of any random procedure that is synonymous with you getting old. Like at the end of the day, people would if as long as you make the song good, people would like that. But this isn't the first time Andre 3000 has said this. But this is definitely the most recent. But I remember like back in like I think it was like 2015 or something. he did like a text interview with some magazine where he essentially said a similar thing, that he just felt like rapping was just meant to be more of like a young person thing. But that to me is a major problem. And I keep mentioning this in many different videos, that a lot of people, their perception of what rap is and what a rapper is, it is warped. It is extremely warped. At the end of the day, all rap is a it's just a specific form of songwriting. That's all it is. When people try to, instead of just viewing it from that perspective, they instead try to make it seem like it's gonna be this, that you, they also assign an image in their head of what it is. They think it's something that's meant to be young and have a street aesthetic, and it's like, oh, it gotta be full of struggle, it gotta be full of like the struggle and all these, and all these stories about flexing and making it out of the trap and all this extra stuff, when that's not really what it is. And even somebody like Andre 3000, who who literally grew up in hip hop and contributed a whole lot to it, even he himself doesn't understand that, which is crazy to me. But that's just what it is. Like, and it's ironic to me, to go back to the colonoscopy point that he was making. It's ironic to me that a guy who was in a group that put out a song literally called the art of storytelling doesn't respect storytelling. Because if he truly respected storytelling, if he really was about that, you would have no problems being able to rap about a colonoscopy. Like, why not? That's why I understood where the guy interviewing him was coming from, where he just kept screaming, "Why not? Why not?" Like, it made sense. I don't understand his point of view really, but I think also part of the reason Andre's like perception of what rap is warped, and he thinks it's just a young person thing. I think part of it is because he himself, I guess you could say, is projected. Where it's like he himself got on at such a young age. Like, I remember years ago, there was an old Outkast interview. I can't find it, but there was an Outkast interview where he mentioned that from his perspective, whatever age you get famous at is usually the age you stay at forever, which does make sense, right? Because at the end of the day, if somebody gets past a certain age, reaches a certain age, and accomplishes everything that they wanted to accomplish, I mean, it is going to be a little harder to grow, because usually, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, most people do grow in hard times. And it doesn't always have to be that way, but that happens for many people. But for someone like him, where it's like you got rich so quick, maybe from his perspective, he just ran out of inspiration. But I don't know, man. It's very weird. One thing I will give him credit for is when he made a comment saying that he believes timing and momentum matters more than talent. And he also said that there's a lot of talented people on the internet, but again, timing and momentum matters more than talent. I actually do agree with that. He does have a point, because as you could see with a lot of the people who aren't very good at rapid, who have managed to get these mainstream platforms and all this, all of this media push from these labels and media outlets. It does depend on momentum and just timing, and just being, and also just being at the right place at the right time, and knowing the right people, right? Like he says, catching the zeitgeist of what's happening in the world is another way he said it. But again, to me, it's just a matter of, you don't always have to catch the zeitgeist of the world. But I also believe that he, like, when he thinks about rap, he also thinks about wanting to be the most popular, and not just wanting to just put out something that's of high quality, which is ironic because he did put out high quality. Him when him and Big Boy were together as a group, they absolutely put out high quality. But clearly, from his perspective, it was also more a matter of just trying to, again, in his own words, catch the zeitgeist of what's happening in the world. But you don't have to do that. You could go against the grain and not talk about, not touch on the whatever's trendy in the world, and still have an audience. But again, I don't know. Maybe he has some like insane level of writer's block, but again, in my opinion, I think he never really had a passion for it like that. And it's not just him. A lot of rappers from previous generations, when they stop rapping or when they want to just walk away from it or when they just fall off as far as popularity, they all seem to like almost in a sense disown the art of rapping, which is extremely disappointing. But it's stuff like this that I think should make people appreciate Big Boy more because, again, not only was Big Boy extremely underrated with how nice he was as a part of Outkast, but Big Boy has really never stopped rapping. He has continuously put out his own stuff to this day, but it seems like it kind of goes a bit under the radar. Andre also spoke about how he spoke to Tyler the Creator, and Tyler was trying to get him get to put stuff out, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know why," and Tyler was like, "Hey, you got to do it because you got to show us what's possible." I think at a certain point, people have to realize, especially as you become an adult, you have to realize that you need to be your own hero, and you can't sit around and wait for just because. Yeah, I mean, look, if you looked up to somebody as a kid, all right, that's fine, but at a certain point, you gotta step up. You gotta stand up and realize that this person is just a human at the end of the day, and he or she is most likely not gonna be everything you want them to be. And so, at a certain point, you just gotta try to be everything that you wanted them to be. Ironically enough, all the qualities you wish they had, all the music you wish they made, you have a chance to make it. You have a chance to be your own hero. But I don't know. I might be rambling a bit. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Did you listen to Andre's Flute album? Did you like it? Do you think he sounds extremely paranoid and has low self esteem? Do you think he just has a point in just when he says that rap is a young person thing and you can't rap about colonoscopies? Let me know in the comment section below.